Welcome into the Edward Jones Chatting Cage, your chance to get some FaceTime with some of the biggest names in Major League Baseball. We have former players, current players, broadcasters, and today we actually get a former player who is a broadcaster. Orel Hershiser is joining us in the Chatting Cage. You can get your questions to Orel through Twitter, through Facebook, and of course, if you hit the red button in the corner of your screen, get in line with your webcam and ask Orel your questions direct. Orel is out in Los Angeles. He's not alone in the frame. He's out there with Jeremy Brizell of MLB.com. I'm going to get it right out to them. JB, take it away with Bulldog.
Thanks, Tim. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage from Los Angeles. Orel Hershiser and his pocket square joins us in the cage today.
You better believe it.
Very excited. I'm always stoked when all-stars, World Series champion pitchers get to take some batting practice in the Chatting Cage. Are you ready to take your cuts?
I'm ready to take my cuts. The pre-show was better than the show, but it's going good so far, guys.
All right, good.
You're going to love this.
No pressure.
How's my pocket square? Okay.
So far, so good. Square is up 1-0 on our score sheet.
Get on. There's people out there watching this.
All right. This is from social media on Twitter, LA Lancer 24. Right, we'll just go right to it. What is your proudest baseball memory?
I'd like everybody in the room to get their phones on vibrate, first of all.
That'd be great.
And then I would say that my proudest LA moment. Wow.
Or baseball.
Baseball, I would have to say standing on the mound, throwing the pitch of the last pitch in the 1988 World Series, because it was a team event. A lot of people have said not the 59 scoreless or not some other things that have happened in my life, but to do something with the team and then to go back and say that's what we did. Everything from Gibson's home run to Tim Belcher and Tim Leary in the rotation doing an amazing job, to our bullpen that was unbelievable, Jay Howell, and then with all the stuntmen that were around our starting lineup that had brought the last World Championship to Los Angeles. It's a fantastic memory, and it's something I'll never forget.
All right, this is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. LA Lancer 24 got his answer to Orel Hershiser's proudest moment, talking about 88. This is for the fans, where you get some FaceTime with your favorite players and or now announcers and or broadcasters, and that's this guy right here, Orel Hershiser.
It's going to be over if you continue to do my resume.
I thought that's what we were doing. It was just a bio. Okay. If a fan steps in the cage, they'll ask you questions directly. Again, get your webcam fired up and ask Orel a question. What's your name, where you're from? What's your question for Orel?
Toby Crosser, Goodyear, Arizona, big-time Dodger fan. Question is, do you think anyone's going to be able to match or beat your consecutive scoreless streak? And who do you think will do it, if anyone can do it now?
Wow. Multi-level question. I think somebody will do it, because I don't think I was that special. I think I got on a really good hot run. I learned a lot about pitching from the Dodger organization, anybody from Koufax to Peranowski. I think it was a great X factor as far as ability and health and knowledge and experience all coming together, and then with good fortune of baseball. The number one thing that I didn't do was I didn't strike out a lot of people, so the ball was in play. I think I averaged 6 or 7 strikeouts during the streak, so there had to be some good fortune, some good baseball probabilities to have that happen with me throwing ground balls and fly balls other than the strikeouts, the good defense behind me. And I think the other thing that helped me is the fact that our team was not scoring many runs. So every run was very, very important. It wasn't like I wanted to trade a run for an out, and because we were up 5-0, we were always only having 1, 2, 3 runs a game. Who do I think will break it? I think it'll be a starting pitcher. I think it'll be the kid down in Texas right now. I think Perez has got about 25 in a row, so he's almost halfway there. Somebody like that's a starting pitcher that gets on a roll, but I actually really think it'll be a strikeout pitcher. Somebody like a Steven Strasburg, somebody that really can average 10, 12 strikeouts a game. Somebody like Zach Greinke, who did it last night. I think he struck out 11, and Zach's on quite a roll.
All right, this is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. We've got social media fan joined us, asked that question about the scoreless innings. Let's go back to New York. Tim, I think social media is on fire. What do you got?
It certainly is, JB, and actually I think Orel's pocket square already has its own Twitter handle, from what I'm seeing. But, but we're going to go to Facebook for the next question, Orel, and Kelly Bach wants to know, which historical hitter of all time in baseball would you have loved to face?
Which historical hitter of all time would I have loved to face? I would have to say, wow. I'd have to go back to the Babe almost. I think the Babe. Just wanted, it would be interesting to have all those people that know his name and know his statistics and know how great he was and what he did for the game and putting it on the map. I would have to say to face the Babe and even to give up a home run to the Babe would be an honor. So it'd be an awful lot of fun. And then to think of what all the black players came through to integrate the game, I think that to face Jackie Robinson or to face any of those guys, those early black players, and to really show the respect and esteem for their ability and to play on the same field with them would have been an honor.
That would be some matchups I know all fans would enjoy. No doubt. Fans, you are the engine that makes this show go. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Fan, fire up your webcam. Get in, get some FaceTime with Orel here. Ask him a question directly. We're getting fans lined up, and they are stoked to take their cuts. What's your name? Where you're from? What's your question for Orel?
Thank you. I'm Bart from Las Vegas, a graduate of Bowling Green State University, where I know Orel went. But my question for you, Orel, is when you played, were you aware of other pitchers using foreign substances in the way Michael Pineda did yesterday? And how did they go about trying to do that without getting caught?
Yeah. First and foremost, I think that the definition of foreign substances needs to be out there. I think a pine tar is made in America, so I'm not sure it's foreign. And it's definitely not foreign to the baseball culture. It is foreign to probably baseball fans and knowing that pitchers and others have used things to get a grip in this game. I think that the main reason that Pineda got caught, of course, is how obvious he was. He did not get caught because he did something that is against the unwritten rules of baseball. He did something that was embarrassing to the game in a way he went about it. So everyone has tried to get a better grip on the baseball ever since the invention of baseball, I'm sure. In my day, I would say 65 to 70% of us had something on our hand that was other than our skin. First of all, rosin, of course, it's on the mound. The next thing you have is dirt. The next thing you have is the dirt that's on the ball. The next thing you have is saliva, which you're supposed to wipe off, but not everybody wipes completely off. They use some of that to rub the ball up and to make it tacky because moisture on the ball kind of opens the skin up and makes it a little tackier. The next thing you have is chewing tobacco. The next thing you have is bubble gum that could be in your mouth. The next thing you have is maybe some kind of sunscreen that you are allowed to wear to protect yourself from sun. And the other things you could have maybe hair gel or anything that's sticky when wet. So pine tar is just another step in using something to get a grip on the ball. Hitters, umpires, managers, general managers, even ownership does not mind the pitcher getting a grip on the ball. The problem with the rule and the problem with what's going on is that you don't want to do anything to the ball that changes the flight of the ball, the natural flight of the ball if the pitcher spins it or if the pitcher throws it straight. But once the ball leaves your hand and does something odd, then that's where there's a problem. Getting a grip with a little bit of pine tar, a little bit of chewing gum on your hand from your saliva, a little bit of chewing tobacco on your hand from your saliva does not change the flight of the ball. It just helps you grip the ball, and that's what the guys are trying to do. He was just too obvious and too over the top, and it was embarrassing.
This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage, a great response from Orel Hershiser on a topic that's on everybody's minds in baseball this day. It's laid all major stories.
He needs to meet with some magicians and do things a little subtly. It'd be a little easier.
Just some nuanced moves.
Just some nuanced moves. Just there's places, there's things you can do. And I'm sure the veterans on his team have tried to help him. I'm even sure Joe Girardi's tried to help him. I've had meetings as a pitching coach and worked with a whole group of pitchers to try and teach them how to grip the baseball that is not cheating, at least within the inner culture of baseball.
That's right. Not on that rule. We have a fan with us stepping in the cage. What's your name? Where are you from? What's your question for Orel?
Hey, I'm Tom from Woodland Hills, California. I'm a big poker fan, so I was just wondering what it was like to play in the World Series of Poker.
What was it like to play in the World Series of Poker? It's a lot of fun when you start, and it's not fun when you get knocked out. But fortunately, I was sponsored, so it wasn't my loss. But it was a lot of fun. I've played in it 3 years. At that time, I was an announcer for ESPN, and I needed to be knocked out by at least the end of the second day or be the chip leader to really call ESPN and say, look, I'm going to miss Sunday Night Baseball. I'm in the poker tournament. So it was more to get on there and to do my best to see if I could get a lot of chips and then have an excuse to miss my broadcast. But if I didn't have enough chips, I really needed to be knocked out and just do that for the sponsorship, to wear the shirt and to wear the hat and to be there for the sponsors.
Good times, World Series of Poker, Orel Hershiser. That'll be, I told you the bio would come up. We're going through the resume.
This is great. I mean, my pocket square is having a blast.
Trending on Twitter, by the way, in the West Coast. Tim, let's go back to you. What do you got, buddy?
We got some more Facebook, JB. All right, Orel, AJ Simpson wants to know, What do you think of the game's statistical revolution? Obviously, so much more is paid attention to all the new stats in baseball.
I am a fan of all the new stats, but I am not a fan to the point where I think it is the have-all to end-all. I think it's like a scouting report. I think it's a place to start. I think it's a place to test your theories. I think it's a place to originate theories. So there's so much to a stat that is not in that number, I think. And I think the velocity of a pitch is there, okay. The break of the pitch is there, okay. The fact that it was hit for a single or a double or a triple or a home run is there. But it doesn't show if the wind was blowing out to left. It doesn't show if it was the 5th pitch in a row in that area. It doesn't show if that guy has great movement on his fastball as far as what he was throwing that day. It doesn't show if they were on natural grass or AstroTurf. You can do the depth. But I think it's a great place to start. It's a great place to see trends. But as far as building rosters and making final decisions on players and who plays and doesn't play, I think it's only a place to start.
This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Orel Hershiser taking his cuts and making significant contact, by the way, if you're paying attention. And I know you are, as the scouting reports go. You have a son who does some pitching as well.
Yes, I do.
All right, well, it's
baseball, your first sport.
It's
some pitching
somewhere in there. Some pitching. He does some pitching, as you did some pitching between your poker time.
Let's go. Come on. Get to the next question.
Greg Walker wants to know. I'm setting it up. Well,
okay.
Let's see. Greg
Is that
Walker,
what a host does?
Well, supposedly. Greg Walker 12 wants to know. There were 11 before him. Is it nerve-wracking to watch your son pitch professionally?
Yes, it is nerve-wracking, but you know what? I think he has his worst outings when I'm there, so I almost don't like to be there because I'm not sure if it's coincidence or if I put extra pressure on him or he's trying too hard, but I'm glad he's trying it. I'm glad he's enjoying it. I hope he can get out of Arizona and extended spring right now and start showing some people. His velocity's starting to go up, his breaking ball's getting better, and his command's getting better, so he's at the age now, 24, 25, where he needs to make a jump or it's going to be back to what some people would call in the baseball world real life, and I just hope that he can make a big jump right now this year.
All right, before we get back to a fan, I just want to follow up for the dads everywhere in every field.
Okay.
You were obviously wildly successful in your field, and your son then wanted to pursue that. What was the balance for that to find a healthy space for you to help him out?
I didn't push either of my boys to baseball. I pushed them, to do the best they can, whatever they loved and whatever they were doing. So both turned out to be really good students. Both graduated from college, one from Baylor, one from USC. I feel really good about their futures and what they're doing, but one just happens to be in baseball. And, of course, I give him a little expertise. I'm going to teach him not to put pine tar on his neck, and I'm going to go from there. And I hope, dads, I think the thing I worry about when I see baseball dads, football dads, sports dads, is they're living vicariously through their sons, and they're pushing their sons and daughters so far, so fast that they're probably going to make it to the top of their level even without that pushing. I think, for me, I just tried to be the dad. I didn't try to be the expert.
Fantastic. This is Orel Hershiser. Fan is with us. What's your name? Where are you from? What's your question?
Hello, my name is Derek from Glendale, California. How do you think you would do against today's hitters?
Wow. How do I think I would do against today's hitters? I think every generation is different. I think these are the best athletes that have ever played baseball in the field today. I believe that only because I believe my theory comes from Olympic sports. And as we continue to set world records in every individual sport, let's say the javelin throw, the discus, let's say the running short distance, running long distance, in weightlifting, that means individual things are becoming better and better. Well, all those individual attributes of athletes are then coming into these major sports like football, basketball, and baseball. So I would think that the best athletes, because those records are being broken, are on the field. Now, does that mean that we could not participate and beat them? I think we could play with them. I think we could play with them for sure, because we would be exposed to the same knowledge and training and upbringing that they were. It's just we need to be exposed to that. Are these guys in better shape than anybody that's ever played the game? I think they are. Are these guys the best players that have ever played the game? They might be.
All right, thank you, Orel. We're going to get back to Facebook a little bit. We've already gotten a little bit of insight into your other hobbies. You mentioned playing poker, and obviously you're a broadcaster now. But Sawyer Nobles wants to know, what would you have done with your life if you hadn't played baseball?
What would I have done if I hadn't played baseball? I was going to school in selling and sales management at Bowling Green State University in Ohio. I was academically ineligible my freshman year. I ran away from school and flunked out. My dad got me back into school, and I went out back and almost make the dean's list every quarter. I think I just needed to grow up. I was then drafted as a junior and went on to baseball. I think if I would have finished my degree, I would have gone into my dad's printing company and been in sales there and probably in management. Every summer I would go back there to home and I would play baseball, and I would also work at that company to kind of train and get ready to be part of that company. So that's where I probably would have ended up. No, I wouldn't have been a dentist.
Has that been...
Well, with the name Orel, everybody.
That must have been like the over. What threshold was that joke over? 8, 9, 10?
It's still going on. I used to get the calls over the bullpen, like, what kind of name is Orel? And after I won a Cy Young, I started yelling back famous.
It is synonymous with great success. That's what it means. Rose, we wrap things up talking about names, actually.
I'm having fun. Don't wrap it up.
Okay, I won't. Don't make me do it. People yell at me. Andy Shaker wants to know, and we know it's a pretty good story about who gave you the name, but what did the nickname Bulldog, having that nickname, what did it mean to you?
The name came from Tommy Lasorda by way of an idea from Mark Cressy, our bullpen coach, I believe. That's what I've heard the story, but Tommy will take full credit for it. And it was really, I think, to make me believe that I could be tough on the big league field and to make Tommy Lasorda believe that I was tough, because I look kind of like Opie Cunningham and Ronnie Howard, and I don't think I look real tough. I'm not the guy that throws the water cooler or throws my glove or starts swearing when I come back after a bad inning. But at the time, I was very timid on the mound as far as pitching to the edges of the plate and really throwing a lot of balls and not getting ahead of the hitter. And I think Tommy, in giving me the nickname and telling me that when he yelled it from the dugout that he believed in me and that he wanted me to attack the hitters, it made me throw a lot more strikes, get ahead in the count, and then all of a sudden my stuff started to work.
Well, there you have it, folks. I know you want to stick around, Orel, but we have to go. They need the room.
My pocket square wants to stick around.
That can certainly stay. Okay. Jim, I want to thank you for doing the heavy lifting back there in New York. Orel, I want to thank you for joining us here in the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Did you have a good time?
I had a blast.
All right.
Can they see our handshake?
I hope so.
It's right here.
We should be able to do that.
Okay, good.
We should work that out.
See you guys. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
I was going to say that. Thanks for this one. We'll see you
I'm
next
not
time.
doing it with you.